Welcome to The Sound, KQAL FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Midwestern-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Midwestern artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling. Tonight on The Sound, we check out the latest album from Turbo Pastel, called, well, Turbo Pastel. What else? As someone once said, it's fast and it's Easter colors. I don't know who that person was, but I believe them. Tonight, the creative force behind Turbo Pastel, Ben Burwell, becomes our tour guide as he pulls back the curtain to give us a glimpse into the creative process that went into making Turbo Pastel. I'm Bill Stoneberg, saying hang on to your hats and put all your Easter eggs in one basket. I know they say not to do that, but we're going to live dangerously. Come on, you can do it. Because this should be one heck of a ride as we listen through Turbo Pastel's self-titled album, tonight on The Sound.
About time they got hitched. My best boy's made up his mind, that's it. All rise for the perfect fit, and I played their song as she walked on in. Another time in another life, when I stood here by me and my taking long drive. Now give it one more try, next time you'll get it.
That was a song called Delavan, Wisconsin, and that's the first track from the new self-titled album by Turbo Pastel from Minneapolis. And I have Ben Burwell, the force behind Turbo Pastel, on the phone with us tonight. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. As we were kind of talking a little bit before we started here, it sounds like you injured your hand, but you just got out of the doctors, and it sounds like you're gonna make a full recovery. I hope, right?
Yeah, better. Yeah, no, we'll be good, and hopefully, my bass finger's a little shorter. Get it out of the way for future recording projects.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get right into this. Like I had told you in my initial, I think I sent you an email. Your album came up in a discussion on our New Year's Day show here, where we kind of went through our favorite things about 2023, and your album here, Turbo Pastel, was my favorite. And I didn't find out about it until it was probably early December when I came across it on Bandcamp, but instantly fell in love with it. Just, dude, great songs. I love the production. And like I said, I named it. Maybe we'll just play the clip here. We'll play the clip where I talk about your record, and
Sure.
then we'll come back and talk.
So, number 3, Molly Brandt. Number 2, Mike Munson. Bill Stoneberg's number 1 album of 2023.
Oh my gosh, this album came out in October 20th of 23, but I just recently found out about it.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah, just like
last 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It rocketed to number 1.
Oh my gosh, it's my favorite find of 23. It's called Turbo Pastel out of Minneapolis. And it's like, it's a weird combo of take Don Henley, Jason Isbell, write a bunch of songs that could be 90s country songs, give them an 80s pop aesthetic, and go. Yeah.
And make music.
Right. So that's my favorite, Turbo Pastel.
Molly Brandt, number 3. Mike Munson, number 2. And Turbo Pastel, Bill Stoneberg's album of the year that came rocketing from debut status into the number 1 within the last, 8-10 weeks of the year.
Yeah. So, Ben, this album sounds like, it's kind of like a culmination, it sounds like, of several releases that you've had throughout 23. There's some acoustic versions of some of these tunes, some singles, stuff like that. Can you take us back to the beginning? How did Turbo Pastel come into existence? How did you start? Is this a solo venture? Are you going to turn it into a band? Just kind of give us the background on this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played in the Minneapolis music scene. I probably starting right around 2010, and was in bands playing up until about 2015, and then ventured in the world of carpentry and kind of jumped out of the music scene. It was somewhat intentionally, and that, basically I came out with a record that I had absolutely loved, and it didn't get noticed, which is a really common problem for a lot of just about every musician I've ever met.
Right.
But anyways, and then the bug just doesn't go away. It's the songwriting is just something that I have to do. Been doing it since I was 6th grade. I think I wrote my first song, so it's not like I can quit doing it. Anyways, just started doing it on my own, and it just started off as a real private thing, and then it would have been the spring of 2020 is when I got encouragement from friends of mine to maybe take it a little more seriously and gather the songs I'd been writing and make a record out of it.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Where did the name Turbo Pastel come from? I'm interested in that.
Yeah. So that was so when I was a kid, again, probably about 6th grade, 6th, 7th grade.
Okay.
My best friend's older brother went to a punk show in Northern Illinois, just at some garage somewhere, and the band that was playing, that everybody was in love with, they were called Turbo Pascal, Pascal.
Oh wow!
And it was just a tape. It was on a tape, and we had one tape of this band, and we played it like crazy. Well, this band had taken their name from a programming language. I think it was a programming language. Anyway, some computer thing from the early 80s.
Okay.
And they just ripped it, and I loved it. And those guys, they're all dads now living in Northern Illinois, and they quit being in a band a very long time ago. So when I wanted a name for the project, I was like, you know what? They took that name, so I'm just going to take it now. And I went around and called myself Turbo Pascal, Pascal,
Right.
and everybody misheard me, and everyone was like, "Oh, Turbo Pastel." I like that. Like it's like fast, but Easter colors,
Right.
and it happened like 3 or 4 times, and by the third or fourth time, I was like, you know what, the universe is probably just telling me that's what it should be.
Right. Right.
And so I just went with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, and there's another aspect to that too. The first track is called Turbo Pastel. And it's
Right.
a very brief track. It's one of those kind of intro/transition type tracks. I'm going to go ahead and let's play that for folks here, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about that. We played Delavan, Wisconsin already, which is kind of the first tune on the record, but Turbo Pastel is a track that comes right before that. So we'll go ahead and play that right now. We'll be right back to talk more about it.
I like it.
Thanks. I just want to record them all.
The whole suite.
Yeah, but keep it simple. Like real straightforward.
Yeah, 4 or 5 piece maybe.
Yeah, or not even that much.
Showcase the songwriting.
What is that? You guys see that? Looks like headlights.
Probably just headlights.
No.
I don't know, man.
No.
I see that
I'm going
too.
inside.
What?
Look at that.
What is that?
Don't go investigate.
It's getting bigger.
No, just I'm going inside.
You see
Ben,
that?
what are you doing?
Ben,
Sit down.
get back.
Look at that. What the?
Wait.
No, look at it. What the is that? Hey, what the is that?
Okay, so that was Turbo Pastel. That's the brief track that comes right at the beginning of the album before Delavan, Wisconsin. So how did these kind of tracks come about? There's a couple of these on the album. This one, and I believe there's another one, I'll Call Now.
Yeah.
Are these transitions? Like, is this part of a story? Where do these come from? Yeah.
No, that's great. Thanks for asking. That was so growing up, I'll never forget. It was mostly on hip hop records, really, but you'd get them elsewhere from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Skits, and
okay.
it was always skits. Or like I'll never forget. God, I was really young, but there was an Offspring record had this song called Intermission.
Okay.
And there was always something about kind of the breaks in a record. Queens of the Stone Age has a couple on their big record too. But anyways,
right. Yep.
It's it kind of takes you on a journey. At least it did for me. And with the opening track, the skit, if you will, it's kind of an inside joke amongst friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 good friends of mine on that track with me.
Okay. Sounds like you're around a fire.
Yeah, good,
Uh-huh.
nice. Okay,
Right.
so that picked up. Yes, we did record a fire for that, but it's
cool.
basically
You actually recorded the fire?
we did
Awesome.
recorded the fire, recorded the loons, and recorded those crickets. Those were all we found all those sounds.
Good job, man. It sounds great. It set the stage, man.
That was nice.
So can I
Okay,
take
yeah.
a guess? Can I take a guess here and tell you what I
please.
heard? Okay.
Yeah.
So what I hear is you guys are standing around the fire, shooting the, stuff, and it sounds like something appears, like perhaps, maybe a UFO or something like that, and it turns out to be Turbo Pastel.
That's
I
exactly
close?
right.
All
You're real
right.
close.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, it can be whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah.
UFO, ghost, who knows? But yeah, it was basically the. So when I had these friends encouraging me to put these songs into a record,
Mm-hmm.
I was adamant with everybody. Sure, let's do it. That's a great idea. But I was adamant. This is going to be simple. We're going to maybe even record everything in the same room at the same time. We're not going to get too high production with it. We're just going to have it be real rootsy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you only have to get, 30 seconds into the record to know that I failed at that. And then,
right.
and I indulged, impulses of mine to be a perfectionist. And so that's what that track is. It's like, I don't know, would you say my ego or the grandiosity kind of swooping in and taking over everything and gobbling everyone up.
Yeah, like, oh, holy shit, here it comes, right?
Right.
Well, and that's the thing. That first track, Delavan, it comes in swinging. It's right in your face with these big, huge upfront vocals, and it's just like, yeah. Yeah, it hits you. It hits you right off the bat. I love it. I love it.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm talking to Benjamin Burwell. Do you go by Benjamin or Ben?
Ben's good.
Ben? Okay. I'm talking to Ben Burwell. He is the creative force behind Turbo Pastel. And this next tune is off the self-titled album called Turbo Pastel. This is Midwestern Sensibilities, and you're listening to it on The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL.
He decided once to change his mind. Bite up and go, you'd have thought he moved on the neighbor's wife. Tell me that strong man sticks to his guns, but ain't it we good to dig in when you know different than go and hurt someone? You won't be outdone. Back to back, or out to I get to change your mind. There's no trick to it, no other way but through this. Can I get just a moment of your time? No man I've ever known is bills the driven snow. My skeletons hung in a row. No donation box for these old things to go. Do you like what you're listening to? Do you trust what they say is true? Do you always best times too? Tell me just what makes those fools different from you. Back to back, or out to I ain't here to change your mind. There's no trick to it, no other way but through this. Can I get just a moment of your time?
That was Midwestern Sensibilities. That's a track from the latest album from Turbo Pastel. And I have Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel on the phone with us tonight. Ben, so Midwestern Sensibilities, that sounds kind of, sounds like a true story. You know, it sounds like kind of something someone would write if they'd been there, right?
Sure.
How do you go about writing? Like how does it start? What comes first? You know, melody, lyrics, chords. How do you go about it?
It's usually words is when
Okay.
the song really takes off. That'll be when I start to feel like I've really got something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the amount of melodies that I've hummed into my phone that I go back to a month later, and it just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But if I write, even just a line or two, I can go back to that 6 months later, and if it's right and if it's honest and true, then it'll ring and I will never forget it. So it's usually words that'll kick it off.
Okay.
And then I'll just find the music along with it.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you go about recording this? Did you do most everything yourself, or do you have other players on it? How did that work?
Super fortunate to be part of a small group of people who work out of a studio in kind of smack dab right in the middle of the Twin Cities. We founded it in what would that have been, 2015, and it's
wow.
slowly grown. There's an amazing engineer, Brady Moan, who works out of there now, and some friends of mine are. We used to call it the Alamo. I don't think it really has a name anymore, but it's a private little warehouse tucked away that we do all of our tracking in.
Oh,
basically.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Private though, huh? Just so we can't like look it up and check it out.
Well,
Or book
you
time
know what?
there.
Actually, there's shows. You can actually when we get
Okay.
off there. I can give you the info, post the links. But
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome. So when you go and record stuff, do you have the songs pretty much worked out first, or do you start laying stuff down and then it evolves? So how does that part of the writing process go for you?
Yeah. Before I offer it to anybody else to consider, it's usually fleshed out in the very basic structure, verse, chorus, and if there's a bridge, and all the words are usually 95% done. There might be a few switching around of things here or there, but basically I'll have 2 or 3 verses, the chorus, and if there's a bridge, and then after that everyone else kicks in. I'm not a player. I'm not a great guitar player. I'm like a really solid C plus level guitar player.
Okay.
And so I'm like a C minus level piano player. So I depend heavily on people who are real players to make everything else sound beautiful.
Yeah. Well, that's what usually makes a good band is people who are really good at certain things that come together. Whether it's writing or playing or whatever. So then, do you like make a demo then and bring it to the other players, or do you record yourself at home and then bring it to them, or do you just kind of sit down and be like, here's the chords, here's how it goes?
Yeah, I do the worst little demo on the pin mic on my laptop.
Okay.
And
Sure.
And then I offer, and then I give it to the guys. Yeah.
Right.
And then usually there's maybe another round to a click. You have to pick the key and things like that. But yeah, no, right at the beginning, it's just, you can almost, I have actually just done it on my phone. So it's usually just a little nasty recording, and then everyone works off that. So,
Right.
and then things start, which I think a lot of people do. You start from the bottom up,
Mm-hmm.
drums, bass,
Right.
piano, and then, boom, boom, boom up from there.
Right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another track. I'm talking to Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel. He's got a new album out called Turbo Pastel, and this next track is called A Wig on the Highway, and you're listening to it on The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL.
There's a wig on the highway tumbling. Old man in a drop top's bald again. He's got a hot day, but he's gonna be late. Gotta keep that ruse of youth on thick. Young couple all smiles as they come on in. Quick cuts, kick your shoes off, the fun's beginning. But right before they showed up, she said she'd had enough. Time to check the news, time to straighten up. But looking at them, you'd never guess. Step right up and witness something right on. Right on. Watch how he just glides along the stage. Good for driving home, household fight song. This boy's kicking that juice with twice his age. Hair gel, sunglasses, and a big grin. He's gonna show you the way to get rich with him. In his 6-part series, there's a 6-step tip. He's gotta pedal those tricks and pedal them quick. Cause that little sports car's got a lease on it. Yeah. Step right up and witness something right on. Right on. Watch how he just glides along the stage.
That was A Wig on the Highway, and that's a track off the newest album from Turbo Pastel. And I have Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel on the phone with us tonight. Okay, so, Ben, A Wig on the Highway, that's another one that has those big upfront vocals that kind of just hit you across the face right away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, once I realized what you're saying, I'm like, what? What is A Wig on the Highway? You know?
Yeah.
You know, where do the lyrics, you said that lyrics are usually what comes first or what kind of sticks, you know? Are they all true stories, or are they all like drawing on experiences, or, you know, are you like just a fiction writer, a master fiction? And what is this? Is this, you know, how does that come about for you?
So it's a combination. I mean, like
Okay.
with Wig on the Highway was quite literally driving down south on Hiawatha, stopped at that's a street in Minneapolis.
Yep.
Anyways,
Okay.
heading south, stopped at a light, and I look up and there's a wig tumbling like a tumbleweed
No way.
through the intersection. Yeah. And that was just right away, it just came right out. There's a wig on the highway.
Tumbling.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
And then after that, it was like, oh, that's really silly, obviously, but it's got something to it. And I went straight home and wrote probably 60% of the rest of the song. And I guess Wig is a great example of like kind of what I normally do, which is take something real and then decide what it means.
Sure.
And that was, in the case of Wig, it was, well, I got just thinking about what is a wig, you know,
Right.
and I use that as kind of a jumping off point. The song, you know, the next verse after talking about the old guy wearing the wig is a young couple fighting in the car and then going inside and nobody knows that they were just fighting. And, you know, the next verse is a guy trying to sell you stuff and he might not be the best dude. And then the chorus is just a traditional huckster at a carnival trying to sell people something. So it was all kind of, you know, almost harmless deceit is basically what the song's about.
Right.
And
right.
how we're kind of surrounded by it every day, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I just said, that's kind of what I do, is take something real and then kind of jump off and get fantastical with it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good example then. A Wig on the Highway. I like that because you kind of like, it's what you did. It was like, okay, there's a thing happening. What's behind that? You know?
Yeah.
And you made it, and then you give a bunch of examples of that. That's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's play some more tunes for folks so they can hear some more. I'm talking to Ben Burwell tonight. The band is called Turbo Pastel, and the record's called Turbo Pastel. Here's another track from it. This is Bowerbird, and you're listening to it on The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL.
Go and tell your friends that we weren't right, that I came in way too hard, that I went and acted like you and I was something the world should see, that no one else could be right for me. You be telling the truth, just like you said you do. Can't pin this all on me. Setting fire to us took two. It's just one more question I'm asking you. So why can't you just even up? I'd lie if I said I was over us. Tell me to move on. Tell me this wasn't it. Tell me just one time so I can forget, baby. Why can't you just even up? You up and left like you never heard of me. I figured I'd hear from you in a week to get coffee, just to say you were done. I was wrong. There's a saying that some folks say, that if you love something, let it go and it'll come back when free. But if she don't, let her go, it wasn't meant to be. Still after all this time, I'm standing by waiting for that phone to ring. So why can't you just even up? I'd lie if I said I was over us. Tell me to move on, tell me this wasn't it. Tell me just one time so I can forget, baby. Why can't you just even up? Didn't mean to hurt no one. My wild heart was on the run. I picked you up and pushed my luck, and with the pedal down I froze up. I know you weren't asking for much, and that I left you high and dry's enough. Warning wind in our hair, hearts burning up. You needed time to tend the seed in us. But why can't you just even up? I'd lie if I said I was over us. Tell me to move on.
That was Bowerbird, and that's a track off the latest album from Turbo Pastel, and the album is self-titled, called Turbo Pastel. And I have Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel on the phone with us tonight. Ben, so Bowerbird, another track there that sounds like that one might be a little more of a true story.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, right after I get done talking about my songwriting method,
right.
I just prove it wrong.
right.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. And you said it's a combination of things too, right? But that's also,
right.
So I'm assuming that's very personal, but it's also very relatable, I think, to a lot of people, you know?
I think so, probably. Yeah, I mean, this is Bowerbird probably the most straightforward of maybe in the entire record. It's kind of the only real, when you think about love songs, whether it's you're in the throes of it or it's ending, it's kind of, in that category of songs, which is massive, obviously, but it's really the only one that sits there. And yeah, I mean, kind of nowadays especially, I think people ghost people a lot.
Yeah.
And that,
yeah.
and it's sad. And anyways, that happened to me I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it sucked. So I wrote a song about it.
right. That's what we do, right? Write songs about it. And I was thinking when you were talking about your songwriting process too, like, like the tune before that, A Wig on the Highway, where you're like, it's just a random thing that invokes something in you. Do you use are you old school? Do you write things in a notebook, or do you like sing into your phone? What kind of tools do you use there?
Well, nowadays I used to write everything down, but now I use the Notes app.
Right.
And I use that for a few reasons. I mean, one, you can talk into it, so that's nice. And then two, you just you have you don't have a million pieces of paper lying around. I can tell you the amount
Right.
of binders of stuff I used to have.
Right.
Trying to fish through things. You can word search for something in there. So I do that, and then a ton of voice notes.
Yeah.
A lot of baby talk into the voice app.
Right. Well, and you can sing into it too, which is nice to
Right.
hear it back, So I when I was in my 20s, there were tons of notebooks where it's like I go back to them and I'm like, I have no idea what this even is or how it's supposed to go.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
you forget.
Yep.
So, well, let's play another tune here. We got several more to go, and the clock is ticking. And I want to get through these because, man, like I said, I love this record, so I want to spread the love here. I'm talking to Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel, the new album of the same name, Turbo Pastel. This next tune is called "Go Home, Jacob," and you're listening to it on The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL. That was Go Home Jacob, and that's a track off the latest album from Turbo Pastel, and the album's called Turbo Pastel, and we have Ben Burwell from the band on the phone with us tonight. Ben, so that tune, Go Home Jacob, it reminds me of what we were talking about earlier with the different influences that you have and kind of that 80s pop aesthetic. Do the sonic choices like that, you know, as you're building the track and it starts to become, what it's going to be. Do the lyrics inform your sonic choices as well? Like how are those two tied together for you?
Yeah, the lyrics almost always do.
Okay.
The lyrics kind of guide the music, if you will.
Okay.
And Go Home Jacob's a perfect example of that, because the song's about Jacob Fry on the street in the summer of 2020 getting shouted down by a crowd, and just how unbelievably Shakespearean, like some Greek tragedy that was.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was striking. Anyways, so how do you depict that? I mean, you can't write wistful Tom Petty Wildflowers era song about that. That's going to sound really silly.
Right.
You're obviously not going to be jokey about it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick, what did it look like? And so with Go Home Jacob, it was very much like a showdown to me, like almost like you'd see like in an old spaghetti western,
Right.
with the whistle and the whip crack and all of that.
Right.
And so when talking with the phenomenal guitarist that I work with, Nick Costa, what we were looking for, I explained to him exactly that. Like, this is, you watch the tape, it's like that. And so that's what we tried to recreate, is kind of a chaos and an anger with that same showdown kind of feel.
Right.
And
Right.
to really telegraph that, the intensity, to the stakes too,
Mm-hmm. And it works. It works like that, You can feel that showdown type thing going, but it's still got a hook. It's like, wow. It's, yeah. Yeah, great job, man.
Thanks.
So, like I said, we gotta get through some tunes here. So let's play another one. I'm here talking to Ben Burwell tonight. He's from Turbo Pastel. The album is called Turbo Pastel as well, and this next tune is called Rose. And you're listening to it on the Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL.
Another day, another dollar in the county seat. This town gets to be too much for me. Came for the thrill of it, stayed 'cause I can't quit now. Been wondering how I started this, letting it rip past the city limits. It's just that smell of cut grass on a diesel wind. You're asking what I miss most, where should I begin? Have you ever walked the roads just to think? In early July, I wonder, could it just anyhow summer? A little piece of heaven, don't blink. It'll be gone in a moment. Even a rodeo rider can't hold it. Gonna drive at dusk down a 2-lane road, elbow out the window, flying solo. It's tough, I can never get enough of this. Some things motor on and some you don't forget. The ones that keep coming back never made much sense. County Fair 91, seeing Randy tracks. Me and Mike in the bleachers just singing and laughing. Have you ever walked the roads just to think? In early July, I wonder, could it just anyhow summer? Little piece of heaven, don't blink. It'll be gone in a moment. Even a rodeo rider can't hold it. Can't hold it.
That was Rose, and that is a track off the new album from Turbo Pastel from Minneapolis. And we have Ben Burwell from Turbo Pastel on the phone with us tonight. Ben, so Rose to me sounds like another one that's like personal, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Oh yeah, it was, but less of a. It's more describing a feeling than an actual series of events. It's basically just a real strong desire to just hit the road, and I know that's like such a rote, tired thing for like someone who's working in Americana music to say, but but it's a feeling that I'm sure anybody can relate to, and it, during that time, like especially with this song, there was when I was out songwriting, I'd go take a drive out, head southeast towards the St. Croix River Valley, and a lot of times those drives would be through cornfields, and I'll never forget corn detasseling as a kid. And the town I grew up in wasn't all that big, so we would go cruising out in the country when we were in high school, and there is I don't know, there's just a beauty about being out somewhere where no one else is.
Yeah.
And if you live in the city, you don't get a lot of that. So that's pretty much what that one is trying to get at.
Yeah, it reminds me of like finding peace, like finding your quiet place where you can just think, let everything fade away, So I like that a lot. What other like what music have you been listening to? What inspires you, or what who have you been listening to lately?
Well, I'm not kidding. I've been in the top 1% of John Prine listeners on Spotify for like the last 3 years running.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that's always a huge part of my diet. I mean, I listen to a lot of Tom Petty still to this day. And as far as new bands, I mean, I've really enjoyed Big Thief last year. Yeah. So, but my diet also goes all over the place. I got into a Gregorian chant rut like a month ago.
Nice.
I was just playing a ton of Palestrina and Gregorian chant.
Right.
Who knows why? It's just feeling it.
Yeah. I understand that. I recently went on a kick of electric powwow music, Most of the artists I found it's like 10 years old and from Canada, but I'm hoping if there's anyone out there that's into that or does that or makes that here in Minnesota, let me know, because I'd love to talk to someone who does that kind of stuff. So it's kind of EDM slashed with, Native American drumming and singing, so.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I totally fell into that. But I can see what you're saying. Like, if you take in a lot of John Prine, even Tom Petty, I find your lyrics very well written, and I think that's a testament to the things you take in. I think help inform, where you go with things, and you can't get any better than John Prine, I think, as far as lyrics, so yeah.
No, right. You can't.
So.
No.
Cool, man. Where can we hear? I know we can get this on Bandcamp. We can purchase it. Will you become? Where else can we can hear it on other streaming services? I'm assuming, right?
Yep, Spotify, Apple Music. Okay. It's playing everywhere.
Cool. Will there be vinyl available at any point?
Yeah, so I hope so. That's the goal. I'm one of those musicians who has a lot of old records laying around that they printed and nobody wanted. So the physical copies hopefully sometimes towards the end of the year is what I'm for. Nice.
Sounds good. Well, we've got it here digitally in our system, so folks can call in and request it, whatever. How about shows? Will there be any shows we can check out, and where can we find out about those?
Yeah, so I'm doing right now, because of my broken hand, I'm not playing, but but in March, I'm doing the Songbird series in downtown St. Paul, and it's with Emmy Woods, and that should be. I'm really excited about that, so that'll be great.
Cool, with Emmy Woods, downtown St. Paul, Songbird series. What's the venue of that? Where is that?
It's it's March 20th.
Okay,
and it's at Metronome Brewery. They have a room in the basement.
Oh,
that
cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So March 20th, look out for Turbo Pastel, man. For sure. And then turbopastel.com, I'm assuming that's where we can find out about new things and get hooked up with merch and stuff like that?
Yep. turbopastel.com. That'll take you to listen to it all and to stay up to date on what we're doing.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, we gotta get out of this. We got only a few minutes left here, and I want to play another track for folks. So thank you so much, Ben, for talking with us tonight. Like I said, I absolutely love this album. I don't think I'm going to be alone in that opinion either. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance to come down this way, we'll put you on the air again. Let us know about new releases, anything like that. turbopastel.com. You can find links there to go to Ben's socials and things like that. Find albums and merch. So, yeah, Ben, thank you so much. Love it.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
No problem, man. And this last track is called David's Ankles, and this is from Turbo Pastel, and you're listening to it on The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL.
There's another way of being, I'm reminded, when I find the puzzle on his face, angry at the world for zipping by us. We're all the same. Eye to eye, I find a man defining what he seems to think he sees in me. While it's true we're all sums undivided, leave that summing up for their news reports and best dressed magazines. Look at you being you beneath that big bright smiling moon. Shine your light on my offenses. Careful what you get yourself into. Look at you being you. Look at you. Angry as an old oak was long abided, in ground he found an age ago at least, tethered from the changing winds of time, scattering the young amongst his angry roots, a new cry, better things. Hiding from a wound he chose to hide, walking with an air about his ways. Around town he's read as uninvited. It ain't about you, son. You and I, we couldn't go a thing. Look at you being you beneath that big bright smiling moon. Shine your light on my offenses. Careful what you get yourself into. Look at you being you. Look at you. It's you. Them too. It's you.
Thanks again to Ben Burwell of Turbo Pastel for joining us tonight on The Sound. To hear more from Turbo Pastel, check them out at turbopastel.com. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound every Wednesday night at 6, right here on 89.5 KQAL. You can also listen to past episodes of The Sound on your favorite streaming services. Find links at kqal.org. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we've been listening to the fast and colorful sounds of Turbo Pastel, the latest album by Turbo Pastel on The Sound. Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.